This gaming PC costs just a little bit over $500 and you can buy it on Amazon and you can build it in 30 minutes to 1 hour maximum, even if you have no prior experience building computers. So welcome back at ImWateringPSUs, and here we are today with a full budget build guide with links. I will put the links to every single component down below in the description so that you guys can get into gaming with brand new components for cheap. Now, usually on the channel, I bring computers which have the best value for money ever, but which are hardly replicable, meaning you can replicate them, but you will never have a PC exactly the same as mine because they are based on used deals which I find locally where I live here in Italy. Now, you're gonna find the exact same deals pretty much everywhere, but they're gonna maybe be different brand of case, different brand of motherboard, differences like those, which is actually normal. A lot of you guys told me you'd like something which is easy to replicate and which can just be bought outright. And this is it. Disclaimer, to keep the budget so low, we had to do some compromises. And the compromise here is we have DDR4 and an AM4 platform. Now, I will also make an AM5 and DDR5 option for this in a separate video, still with brand new components, but we will have to buy the components on AliExpress, and we also will have to go a little bit higher in price, unfortunately, around $100 more, which may be worth it for you. So if you're thinking about it, maybe wait for the next video. It's gonna come very soon, but this is an insanely good entry-level gaming PC. So let's see how we did it and how you can do it too. Maybe in the country you live in, you have slightly different Amazon deals. The link down below is gonna be international. It should redirect to your country, but I'm also gonna give you the baseline on how you can choose similar components for yourself, of course. AM4, you want to get the Ryzen 7 5700. Why this one specifically? Well, because it comes with an integrated CPU cooler. Now, this CPU is on discount at the moment for just over $100, which is extremely cheap and gets one of the two most expensive components out of the way, because we can go ahead and buy a cheap motherboard with an A520 chipset. Now listen, the A520 chipset is pretty bad, meaning it will prevent you from going to a Ryzen 9. Anything with a higher core count, the VRMs of this motherboard cannot handle, and even a 1500X is probably going to be on the edge of what this motherboard can do, and it is going to result in throttling. However, if you're using a Ryzen 7 5700, you're going to have zero of these issues. So we are compromising on future expandability to get something that's great today. DDR4 RAM is extremely cheap, so you can go ahead and get 16 gigabytes, or actually recommend you get 32, but if you're on a very tight budget, get 16 because it's still fine for entry-level gaming with no multitasking, and you can buy it for around 30 to 40 bucks brand new on Amazon. Now, mine hasn't arrived yet, so I put just a random used stick, which I had here, but I will put the link down below to some I recommend. Some more words about the motherboard. It doesn't really matter which one you get. So this is the one I got. It's a pretty good motherboard, but genuinely, any A520s are gonna be fine. This one is gonna be down below in the description. Now, for the SSD, a 1TB NVMe Gen 3 drive is plenty. Now, I'm not going super poor and getting a SATA drive because I think getting 6 times the speed by getting an NVMe is worth it, but it's definitely not worth it to get double again the speed to get a Gen 4 because, first of all, depending on your motherboard, it may not support it. Then you're gonna need a cooler, which cheap motherboards don't have, so you have to get a Gen 4 drive with a cooler, because Gen 4 drives tend to overheat, whereas Gen 3 drives, you can keep it like this. For example, this Oracle one I got, which I recommend, it comes with a cooler, but I didn't even install the cooler because it's not needed for a Gen 3. It's running completely cold all the time, and it's still 3000 megabytes per second. Plenty fine for gaming and for basic productivity. For the GPU, we're going with a 4060. Now, 4060s, now they are basically end of life, because they stopped producing them because we have 5060s out there. You can also go with a 5060, but if you do, you're gonna raise the budget by at least $100, probably even $150. But the crazy thing is, right now, the 4060 is really, really cheap on Amazon, incredibly. You can also buy it used on Amazon, which I recommend you guys do, actually. If you want to stay in the under $600 budget, over 500, I had to buy this one used like new on Amazon to get this price. So I will just put the link to the page. You can scroll through it and maybe look for some Amazon warehouse deals to buy one, or you can buy a brand new 5060 if you're up with the budget. Either way, this card is gonna draw very little power, and even the 56 is going to draw very little power, which means you can buy a cheap power supply. And we've gone with a Mars Gaming MP3 550. Now, this is a very cheap PSU. It is not a good power supply, but This system draws a peak power of 300 watts. Peak, which means this power supply declares 550 watts, but it's 550 watts peak. It's actually made to handle around 300 watts all-time load, but our peak is 300, so we are plenty fine. The key to buy a good PSU is if the power supply has an 8-pin PCIe connector, at least one, and an 8-pin CPU connector. Usually it can't be too bad if it has at least 450 watts, okay? But I recommend Mars Gaming products because they are cheap but very good. So if this one is available in your country for an entry-level build, buy it. It's 30 bucks for a power supply. Oh, and I was forgetting the price of the SSD. So the SSD, you want to pay maximum 50 bucks. Around 40 would be ideal. The graphics card, you want to pay under 200 bucks or you're not gonna stay in the budget. Now, in my case, I paid exactly 200 bucks for it, so we're happy with it. But if you're going with a 5060, you're gonna have to pay probably 270 bucks for a brand new one, which puts you again a little bit above budget, and it's why I recommend the 4060 still. Case you can really choose whatever you want. Get it micro ATX, because your motherboard, you're gonna get micro ATX to save money. So if you buy a micro ATX case, it's gonna look full. And this is why this build is so nice looking. And I'm saying it to myself. Also, let me know if you like the looks of this thing. But the case was 45 bucks, brand new. It's a Nuvo case. I will again link it down below. But it comes with 3 RGB fans, 2 140s on the front, one 120 on the back. They are Molex powered, so nothing fancy. They're not controllable, but they look very cool and they do the job. So it's exactly what I wanted. As you can see, the budget comes around to right there, the 550 bucks mark. Now, what can this little beast do? Well, I did run a few tests. And for example, in CPU-Z, we see a single thread score of 600 MHz with a very solid multi-threading score. And now the only thing you need to do in terms of tweaking here is make sure you enable the XMP on your RAM. Your RAM, you want DDR4 3200 MHz. I don't recommend you get 3600 MHz because sometimes it doesn't work in very low-end motherboards, but you can also get 3600. So either 32 or 3600, 16 gigabytes kit if you're very tight on a budget, or 32 gigabytes kit if you have just 20 bucks more to spare. And this PC is gonna be able to play games plenty fine. So as you can see, I tested Apex Legends extensively and the gameplay was super smooth. With this PC, you can actually aim at over 144 FPS, which is, however, what we want, because I think for an entry-level gaming PC for nowadays, it's good if you pair it with a low-end 1080p 144 Hz monitor if you play competitive titles, and it's also going to play very intense, heavy titles at 60 FPS fine at 1080p. 1080p is still a very good resolution to play on, and there are some great monitors out there to go with it. Now, if you do want to extract the most performance out of this, I also recommend you go ahead and undervolt your GPU, which I've done, and you can get an easy 15% more performance out of it, which is exactly what you need. So with that said, this was the Amazon special gaming PC build, which you guys can replicate. As usual, I want to hear what you guys think. So if you have something else to recommend which you think is better, drop a comment down below and do let me know. And either way, I hope to see you guys in another video. Bye bye.